marriage, again, we have to go back to the fact that a marriage was not ever created for a woman's happiness. Okay. A marriage is there to benefit the male, the man. That's what marriage, the institution of marriage, is there for. It's to fully benefit the man. The only way that a woman can ever get some type of benefit from marrying a male species is financial. And the man has to make a certain amount of money, at least 150K a year, okay, to even get that process started to where it would benefit the woman in any way that makes sense for her to trap herself in a marriage with a male. So that's the first thing. So marriage is actually an institution that's there for males, okay? So women participating in an institution that's there for males in the first place, that was never created with the woman in mind and with the best interest of the woman in mind, in and of itself is stupid and ridiculous, okay? So let's just start there.
Something that I've seen for a while now is how high the lesbian divorce rate is. I think it's something like 75%.
It's another round of these are not facts, they're just things you made up to justify your feelings. So misogynistic creators, fresh from their defeat of trying to use a single statistic about domestic violence, completely misinterpret what it means, and then use it to make lesbians look bad, are back with a new plan. To take a single statistic about divorce, completely misrepresent what it means, and use it to make lesbians look bad. Now, the first point is that this is not a divorce rate. It comes from the UK's Office of National Statistics, which reported that of same-sex divorces, 72% were between female couples, which is not the same as saying that 72% of lesbian marriages end in divorce. Now, while it is true that women make up the majority of same-sex divorces, it is also true that women make up the majority of same-sex marriages, and a greater proportion of marriages means a greater proportion of divorces. Now, our mutual Professor Neil has also done a video on this topic, which I'll link in the comments, where he actually looked at the divorce rates in various countries. And while it is true that Norway, Netherlands, and Sweden all report a divorce rate for lesbian couples that is higher than opposite-sex couples, anywhere from 30 to 60% higher, Massachusetts reported a divorce rate for same-sex couples that was identical to that of opposite-sex couples. And in Denmark, the divorce rate for lesbian couples was half that of opposite-sex couples. But even more damning is that in the UK, when you read the rest of the ONS report, they actually include the divorce rate for same-sex marriages. And you can see that the divorce rate for women in same-sex marriages, while double that of men, is 0.2 divorces per 1,000 marriages. Meanwhile, for opposite-sex couples, it is 9.2 divorces per 1,000 marriages. Put another way, opposite-sex marriages have a divorce rate that is 45 times higher than lesbian marriages. But none of this covers the fact that women in same-sex marriages face more of the risk factors for divorce. They tend to marry younger than men in same-sex marriages. They also have less household income than men in same-sex marriages. And while men in same-sex marriages are less likely to work than their opposite-sex counterparts, women in same-sex marriages are actually more likely to work than their opposite-sex counterparts. And women in same-sex marriages are 3 times more likely to have a child in the home than men in same-sex marriages. Now, as for the main thrust of their bogus argument, that lesbian relationships are somehow more abusive, the ONS also reports the grounds for divorce, and abuse is covered by unreasonable behavior. And while there is not a definitive list of behaviors that are covered by this definition, it does include domestic abuse, substance addiction, reckless spending, and adultery. And unreasonable behavior is the most common grounds for divorce across all marriages. But it is male single-sex divorces which most frequently cite unreasonable behavior as the grounds for divorce, in 70% of cases, highlighting that once again these misogynists never read the full report that they're citing, and when you do, it completely undermines their argument. And this is such a missed opportunity to have a conversation about unreasonable behavior. And why it is the most commonly cited grounds for divorce, what men can do to avoid it, how they can improve and strengthen their marriages. And that would do far more to help and support men than deliberately swerving away from the point yet again, just so you can bash women.
Forget to smash that like button for me. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button for me. Oh my god. Love you so much. Oh my god, love you so much. Okay. Hola, mis amores, ¿cómo están? Hey, my loves, how are you doing today? So I'm back with another video podcast, and in this one, we're going to take a look at a fairly interesting topic, because I keep getting, in one of my videos, I keep getting a troll that keeps coming back with different accounts, but I think it's the same person. Honestly, I think it's like the same person. Keeps coming back with the same thing, talking about, well, lesbians get divorced at a higher rate. So what does that tell you? First of all, that doesn't tell me anything about the male's behavior. Okay? Here, when we talk about the male's behavior, that still remains the male's behavior. Being despicable, unhelpful, being not empathetic, right? And so women leave in the masses, straight women. We're not even talking about lesbian women here. We're talking about straight women that leave you in the masses. So you coming and telling me about lesbian women, I'm not sure where you're trying to go with that, but if you're trying to go there and trying to force that into your theory or argument, well, let's really take a look at the truth behind that data, because here again, we have the despicable male behavior trying to lie to us, trying to gaslight us, like we don't have a mind of our own, like we can't see the freaking like data that's right in front of us. Okay, when we're talking about male behavior, we're talking about males that literally unalive women and kids, right? Males that literally will sit there and completely demolish another human being, a woman, tell her that she's not worth anything, da 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 da. All of these things are male behaviors. When we're talking about lesbian divorces, we're not talking about those things, right? Like we're not talking about where there's already fundamentally an imbalance when it comes to physical strength, and one person's using that severe imbalance to harm, physically and mentally harm the other person. Okay, that's already right off the bat not the case. Okay, so trying to compare apples to oranges, but even if you want to force the comparison, like can you at least be honest about the data and stop lying? Stop lying so that you don't have to evolve. Okay, it's not gonna help you. Women are still gonna leave you in the masses because you suck. Okay, so you coming here trying to talk about, oh, what about lesbians that get divorced? That's not gonna help you, because it still doesn't change the nature of who you are as a male. It doesn't change the vowel nature of males. It doesn't change it. Okay, and it doesn't change the fact that if you're not part of the 1% of males, if you don't have certain characteristics, okay, then you are not wanted. I don't even know how else to say that. It does not change that for you. I would advise you to confront the reality. Okay. Now, the truth of the matter when it comes to lesbian divorces is that it actually makes sense. That's the irony of it. The irony is that it actually makes sense that lesbian divorces would be higher, because in divorces in general, even in marriages that are male and female, women are typically the ones that initiate the divorce. Okay, so let's process through this together. Okay, women are typically the ones that initiate the divorce in straight marriages themselves. Okay, so what makes you think that that would be any different in a woman-woman relationship, right? So women are even less pressured to stay in a relationship that they don't want to be in. Not even a relationship, but yeah, a relationship and a marriage that they don't want to be in when they don't have to deal with a male. So there's even less pressure. So women will typically not choose to just stay just for the sake of staying and being unhappy and being assuaged like males would probably do. Because even in straight relationships, males don't leave. They're unhappy, they still stay there. See what I'm saying? Like when males are unhappy, even when they're with a woman, they still don't leave. They just continue to stay, and they continue to just operate as parasites. They'll take until the woman decides to leave. Women don't operate in that way. They don't operate like that. So it actually makes sense that if they're in marriages with each other, they would operate in the same way. Whereas, okay, once the relationship has run its course, if we're not happy anymore, then let's go our separate ways. We're not going to continue to just leech off of each other, make each other miserable, create this toxicity of an environment like males do. And you can see that consistent behavior in that males will do that even with each other, right? Like even gay males, they'll stay unhappy, but they'll just keep leeching from each other, right? Parasitic behavior. And then they come to the end of their lives and realize, what did I do? Why did I do that? Right? Because you can't get that time back. Versus women, there's even less pressure there for us to do that when we don't have to deal with the male species, right? And so once that relationship has kind of run its course, especially in a marriage, because a marriage, again, we have to go back to the fact that a marriage was not ever created for a woman's happiness. Okay. A marriage is there to benefit the male, the man. That's what marriage, the institution of marriage, is there for. It's to fully benefit the man. The only way that a woman can ever get some type of benefit from marrying a male species is financial. And the man has to make a certain amount of money, at least $150K a year, okay, to even get that process started to where it would benefit the woman in any way that makes sense for her to trap herself in a marriage with a male. So that's the first thing. So marriage is actually an institution that's there for males, okay? So women participating in an institution that's there for males in the first place, that was never created with the woman in mind and with the best interest of the woman in mind, in and of itself is stupid and ridiculous, okay? So let's just start there, right? So it actually makes sense because the whole institution of marriage, if you think about it, doesn't benefit anyone but the male, okay? All right? And then most of the times, women come in with children versus males don't. So even if males have children, they're usually not the ones taking care of those kids. Okay. And so a lot of these males, and especially gay males, right, they'll get with each other. There's no kids involved. Women might get with each other most of the time, or a lot of times there might be kids involved. So there's more complex dynamics in play there. Okay. So there's all of these elements that these misogynists don't mention, and then they think they can continue to gaslight us in 2024, the age of truth. I don't think so. So let's take a look at more in-depth explanation and context, all right, as to this dynamic that actually, if you sit down and think through it and process through it, actually makes sense, okay? It doesn't change any art. I mean, the male is still vile and despicable. It actually makes sense that the gay males that marry each other would stay together, because that's the same exact thing that they do when they're with women. They will sit there, they're unhappy with the woman, they don't like the woman, but guess what they do? They stay with the woman, leech off of her, insult her, berate her, and suck out all the life from her, okay? And it is always usually the woman that then has to get up and leave, because the male will not do it. It's the same exact behavior. So it literally makes sense. Even when we look at the statistics for marriage between males and women, women are already the ones that leave the most. Like 75%, they run away from this despicable behavior, right? So women, we're not going to sit around and just be unhappy. If the relationship has run its course, then we move on. That's what you're supposed to do. Especially in an institution that wasn't created for us in the first place. That wasn't even created with us in mind, right? In the first place. Okay, don't forget to smash that like button for me. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button for me. Oh my God. Love you so much. Oh my God, love you so much. Okay. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye.